Ok, vado. Good morning, everyone. Happy 22nd of March, 2021. My name is Virginia Fiume, and I am the coordinator of Humans and of the European Citizens Initiative StopGlobalWarming.eu. And today we are very happy to have organized, in collaboration with earthday.org and with the media partnership of Vox Europe, who is also broadcasting this live streaming, the Mayors to StopGlobalWarming.eu appointment is going to be a chance to listen from mayors from over 15 EU member states about the carbon pricing proposals that we carry on through this participatory democracy instrument, which is the European Citizen Initiative, but also an opportunity for the mayors to share their perspectives on sustainability and environmental policies at a local level, at a national level, and at a European level. We will have a lot of mayors joining us today, and so the rhythm and the pace is going to be quite quick. So before getting into the flow, I will leave the floor to Marco Capato, who is the president of Humans and the promoter, together with Monica Frassoni, who is with us today, of StopGlobalWarming.eu. So Marco, if you want to tell us
Thank you.
What we're doing here today.
Thank you, Virginia, and thank you to all of you for being with us today. Our plan before the pandemic was to go around Europe to create committees in all the European countries for this European Citizen Initiative, which is proposing to create a common European carbon pricing for CO2 emissions. Of course, this was impossible, and then our campaign is basically an online campaign, because the European Citizen Initiative can be signed through the website StopGlobalWarming.eu and can also be embedded in any kind of website. I think that the social crisis that we are experiencing together with the health crisis is a reason more to try to cope the environmental issue and the social issue together. This is why I think that the reason that were at the basis of our initiative, starting from a 27 Nobel laureates idea of shifting taxes from labor to CO2 emissions, is now even more valid than it was before the pandemic. We have to combine the goal of helping labor and coping with the social crisis with the goal of not only setting ambitious goal for the future, 2030, 2050, but starting deciding now who has to pay for it. How can we trigger the economic dynamic to respect the goals that we are setting for 10 years or 20 years from now? So mayors, of course, are a key protagonist element of this endeavor. There is no need, I will explain that. You are here expressly to explain it much better than I could do. So thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you for the support that you gave to the StopGlobalWarming.eu campaign, and thank you for every and each action that you are carrying on in your specific territory and community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marco Cappato. Since we speak about sustainability at a European level and the challenges can be tackled only at a transnational level, we decided to open today's meeting with Manuela Ripa, who is an MEP from the Greens, that is gonna give us a bit of context of the European Parliament process in terms of policies such as the carbon pricing, but not only, and why it's important to join efforts in the way that we are doing today. So Manuela, I know you have another meeting later on, so thanks for being with us, and the floor is yours.
Yes, Virginia, thank you very much. Thank you, Marco, for inviting me and for giving me the opportunity to speak today. And I already have to say, I'm very sorry that I just can do the opening and then I have to leave to another meeting, but I'm happy that I can address today some challenges. And I'm very happy about this invitation, and it gives me the possibility to address two things: the importance of participatory democracy and the carbon border adjustment mechanism, for which I was responsible in my group in the International Trade Committee of the European Parliament. I strongly believe that participatory democracy is a key element in today's political decision-making process. Especially the current crisis that we face today on climate change show that a lot of decision-taking of current policy-making are not ambitious enough. Not only pupils and young people are concerned, a vast majority of citizens are concerned too. And therefore, it is right that you focus on citizens whilst you are the closest to them. My party, the Ecologic Democratic Party, ÖDP, focuses very much on this element of direct democracy, and we are one of the most successful initiators of referenda in Germany. The last successful petition we did in Bavaria focused on the protection of biodiversity and insects. We forced Bavaria to change its legislation on nature protection, and I initiated afterwards a European Citizens Initiative to bring the protection of bees onto a European level. We now join forces with another ECI, Save Bees and Farmers. I want to leave it there for the momentum, as I know that you invited me for the special topic on the carbon border adjustment mechanism, short CBAM. Europe is currently heading for a disruptive change of our economy. We have discovered that the Paris Agreement is only achievable if we act now, if we act boldly, and if we act in a coherent manner. As part of the European Green Deal, the Commission will come forward with a legislative proposal on CBAM for selected sectors as a way to ensure the decarbonization of EU industry while mitigating the risks of relocation production in third countries. The legislative proposal is part of the so-called Fit to 55 package and should be presented in June this year. And it is the right time to come up with such a mechanism, as we are facing at the moment a threefold challenge: the WTO crisis, a pandemic, and the Paris Agreement. This challenge is an excellent basis to introduce new elements into our global commerce, and it goes without saying that we as Europeans should be the driving force. Especially when it comes to the introduction of a CBAM, we should be united when negotiating this with our global partners. We have to acknowledge that while the EU has reduced its domestic greenhouse gas emissions by 23%, a big part of the Union's domestic CO2 emissions is imported. When aiming for efforts to reduce domestic CO2 reductions, we have to do our utmost in order to tackle at the same time the CO2 footprint and so the CO2 content of imported goods and services. However, in order to do so, we need to understand how much CO2 is in such a good or service. This is why we need to develop a standard on the tracing and tracking of carbon content in products. It would be clearly an advantage if we as Europeans develop this standard for us with a clear vision to make it compatible also on a global level. It is also a way to incentivize the climate action, both within our EU territory, but also by our trading partners. We should start this mechanism with the carbon-intensive sectors, for example, the chemical or the steel industry. We should also aim for a clear coherency with other sectors that need decarbonization, as, for example, the agricultural sector, but this would be later on. The harm that CO2 creates for the climate produces costs that are not integrated today in the production and the value chains. We need to internalize these external costs. That's what the EU ETS system so far was trying to do, but failed. The ETS was not fast and efficient enough to address the requirements of the Paris Agreement. It definitely needs an ambitious reform. Under the current ETS, 94% of EU industrial emissions would still be subject to free allocation, in clear violation of the polluters pay principle entrenched in the EU treaties. CBAM should fully replace all existing carbon leakage measures. Maintaining those measures while introducing CBAM would entail to double protection for EU industries against carbon leakage risk that is yet to be proven. Therefore, free allocations under EU ETS should be phased out as soon as CBAM enters into force for the sectors concerned. And would CBAM qualify for protectionism? My answer is a clear no. The reason is very simple. It is serving a purpose that has been qualified as a global common good, namely the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions. As this is the global standard, it is not about protecting ourselves anymore. Finally, what do we do with the revenues from CBAM? They are estimated between 5 to 14 billion a year, depending on the scope and design of the instrument. The revenues generated from CBAM should constitute a new own resource for the EU budget and allow an increased support to climate action, both within and outside the Union, in particular to step up the Union's contribution to internal climate finance in favor of least developed countries and small island developed states. CBAM was voted in Parliament some weeks ago. Unfortunately, the system of free allocations could not be abolished. However, the mechanism as such is on a good way. The ball is now in the pitch of the Commission to come up with a proposal. Whatever influence you might have, please use it in order to make sure that the mechanism is coherent, ambitious, and efficient. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Manuela, MEP from the Greens in the European Parliament. It was very precious also because it calls on the responsibility of citizens, communities across the EU to push for this type of policies and find that bridge between participation and decision makers in the EU institutions. Thanks for being with us. So now I leave the floor very happily to Nick Nuttall, who is the Strategic Communication Director of earthday.org, the organization that helps all of us on the 22nd of April of remember that we live on a planet that needs our attention. So earthday.org is also a co-promoter of this appointment today, and so I'm happy to leave Nick explain in a global maybe context this appointment of today, but also the work that earthday.org does every year. And not only.
Yeah, thanks very much indeed, Virginia. Thanks everybody else. Earth Day is this day on the 22nd of April that is now 51 years old. It started originally in the United States in 1970 when the then president was President Nixon, who wasn't exactly known as a top environmentalist. But it actually has grown very nicely around the world, and many people, we claim 1 billion people come out on Earth Day around the world every year to do something to protect our planet. This year's theme is Restore Our Earth, and I think this campaign that StopGlobalWarming.eu is very much in the frame of this Restore Our Earth. We're not going to be able to restore our Earth unless we deal with global warming, and we're not going to be able to restore our Earth if we don't get a decent price on carbon. We know that. And, you know, this is meant to be the year of ambition for ratcheting up the Paris Agreement. I was very fortunate to be the spokesperson for the United Nations for the Paris Agreement. And, you know, nations at the time envisaged there would come a moment 5 or 6 years down the line when we needed to go to a new level of ambition. And we know that the Paris Agreement and the carbon markets, that's the kind of last piece in the jigsaw puzzle, or one of the last big pieces in the jigsaw puzzle this November in Glasgow. So to get a good price on carbon, to get really functioning carbon markets that really benefit people, we really need some leadership. And I think this campaign can maybe help the European Union actually be a leader on this and pull other governments along in favor of a decent price on carbon and as I say, proper functioning carbon markets that don't allow the leakage that was just talked about before. I'm an international strategic communications director, so one thing I'm very aware of is what it takes to win a campaign. And, you know, you can have the most marvelous idea in the whole world, but if you don't get enough people, in this case, to sign this signature, of course, it won't happen, which is why it's fantastic to see so many mayors here, because I'm really hoping, and I'm sure Virginia is hoping too, that you not only as mayors have signed up to the campaign, but that you can somehow communicate to your citizens in your cities the importance of signing this campaign document. So indeed it can trigger that debate, which could indeed lead to some kind of higher ambition by the European Union when governments meet in Glasgow in November this year. So I'll leave it there. I hope you enjoy Earth Day, April 22nd. Do something for the environment. Maybe tell your citizens to sign this petition. And of course, the good news is that President Biden is also hosting a leaders summit on Earth Day on the 22nd of April. So maybe we can see some action from the United States again, which will help us all, I think, in Europe, in China, and in many other countries that are looking for leadership in the world on these. Thanks very much, Virginia.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Nick Nuttall from earthday.org. So as we go deep into this incredible appointment today, there are 34 people connected in the Zoom call, which means that there are mayors, staff, observers, and participants. I thought it was a good idea to start today with the Italian experiences. This event, Mayors to StopGlobalWarming.eu, today is the second appointment. We had the first in the middle of February, where over 80, as you can hear from my accent, I'm Italian, so we started with Marco and Monica from the Italian mayors. We had this appointment to where over 80 mayors from different Italian cities, north, south, islands, took part in it. So we wanted to share with all of you 3 experiences from Italy that are going to help us also to deep dive into the debate today and to see the combination between the local actions that each municipality is doing at a local level for the fight against climate change, but also concrete actions that these municipalities are carrying on to increase the level of information of citizens about their right to sign European citizen initiatives, which is one of the biggest challenges of a campaign like a European citizen initiative. So we should have with us Federico Menzio from the city of Turin, who is speaking on behalf of Chiara Appendino, the mayor of Turin. So Federico, if you can tell us a bit what drove you to implement the local motion for StopGlobalWarming.eu in Turin and the actions that you are planning. You have 3 minutes from now.
Thank you. Sure, Virginia. Thank you a lot for inviting the city of Turin today. I'm very honored to convey the greetings of the city and in particular of the Mayor Chiara Appendino and the entire City Council. And thanks to Marco Capato, to you and Lorenzo Mineo for having launched the StopGlobalWarming.eu initiative with humans. As a chairman of the Environmental Commission of the Turin, I immediately welcomed the proposal for the European Citizen Initiative. And after listening you to the promoters during the work of our commission, I proceed as a simple editor to write a comment, to write a commitment document for the City Council that indicates some points and to support and spread the initiative, and that was voted by all the council, all the participants in the council. This initiative has 2 important values for us. First, the value of the health of the planet, which I have faced several times in the Commission, listening to the former president of Kiribati, whose country is in danger of disappearing, and the indigenous Brazilians, whose territory and their lives are in serious danger due to the deforestation, in order to give space for climate-damaging activities. Among these, I would like to mention one of all, the use of land for producing feed for intensive animal farming, of which Europe is a major importer. Please stop import products from territory in a case of the deforestation. second value, the value of involving the citizen in the decision of the European politics as an example of participatory democracy. Turin wants to give and is already giving all its support to the initiative to collect the necessary signatures, because we believe that the proposal interests everyone, regardless of political affiliation, culture, or national appartenance. In addition to spreading the initiative by any means, we want to ensure soon that the citizen can sign the initiative starting from the municipality website. But above all, we have proposed, as is already the case for all initiatives, to screen the StopGlobalWarming.eu logo on the symbol of the city, the Mole Antonelliana. The same, you can find the mole on the 1 cent Italian euro. Because the Mole Antonelliana is a monument recognized by all the citizens of Turin and beyond, and that could be an extraordinary medium for spreading the initiative. So I thank all the European majors and councils who have joined and will join the StopGlobalWarming.eu initiative, because we know that it's too late to repair the damage done by the humankind to the earth, but we still have time to stop and avoid worse damage. The time to act is now. So now it's time to sign the StopGlobalWarming.eu initiative. Please do it. Thank you again, everybody.
Thank you, Federico Menzio and the municipality of the city of Turin for the commitment. We now move to the very local of the Italian capital, Rome. We have the representative of 2 municipi of Roma, which are the administrative, the smaller administrative bodies. Forgive my not easy way to describe the administrative layers of Italy, of Italian cities. And the first person that I invite to speak is Stefano Simonelli from the 15 Municipio in Rome, who set up the first info point for Stop Global Warming. And Stefano is gonna describe us again why and how they set up this.
I will read. Good morning to all the participants, the mayor, the representative of the institution, and the representative of humans, to whom I would like to express my sincere gratitude for their daily commitment in the promotion of an initiative so vital for our mistreated planet Earth. First of all, I would like to apologize in advance for my English. It is a little bit rusty, so sorry. When at the town council we received from the representative of humans, Miriam Turini, Elena Rampello, and my great friend Ilaria Venturini Fendi, the proposal of joining the initiative by promoting a signature campaign through institutional websites, portals, and other communication channels, we thought that we could and we should do more. With the support of all the members of town council, we decided to be not just promoters, but active supporters of this wonderful journey, which will reach its first stage 22 of July. Coming together to be stronger, telling our story to be and make others more aware. Here are the 2 principles which inspired us. Coming together to be stronger. We have immediately involved to join our team one of the bigger associations operating in Rome, Retake Roma, composed by thousands of volunteers which regularly organize action to contrast the urban and the environmental decay. Currently, we are involving the associations active all over our territory. We have started with sports centers because who plays sports learn to protect his own life, who respect the environment learn to protect the life of everybody. Telling our story to be and make others more aware. Although the pandemic is not helpful, we believe it's important to talk to people by looking at them in the eyes, reaching their hearts, telling them what our world has become and what it could become and how important it is to respect the environment. For this reason, we have planned some info point days. The first took place the 6th of March in a public park with the participation of all representatives from humans, Retake Roman, and the municipality. In order to increase the visibility of initiative Stop Global Warming, which involves several celebrities of the artistic, cultural, and fashion world who lives in Rome, such as Giobbe Comanta and the nominated Ilaria Venturini Feddi, the events have also been live streamed. Next Info Point event, which will also be live streamed, will take place by the second half of April. Also at the sports centers, which is joined the team, we will organize info points with the idea to create more occasion to get together, debate, and raise awareness. The more we are, the closer our target of 1 million citizens becomes. I would like to conclude with a quote by Andy Warhol, which have been used to promote an initiative of the 15 municipalities against the use and abandon of plastic. Having land and not ruin it is the most beautiful art and the art that anybody could ever want to own. Thank you. And good luck to everyone.
Thank you, Stefano. Unfortunately, the audio broke on the quote at the climax, but if you want to drop it down in the comments, we can reuse it, because quoting art is the perfect connection with our next speaker, who is Amedeo Chakri from the 8th Municipio in Rome, where there is we can see a nice integration of street art and the activation of the municipality. So I'm going to share a picture in the screen while Amedeo gives his 3-minute speech, and then the next on stage is Lord Mayor Hazel Chu from the city of Dublin, who is gonna open up our tour across the European Union and beyond, because we have some surprise today. So Amedeo Chakri from Rome.
Thank you, Virginia. First of all, I also read my interview. First of all, I would like to thank Marco Capato, Monica Frassoni, all the promoters of StopGlobalWarming.eu network for opening a much-needed space. For years, the fight against global warming and awareness of climate change has been a topic of discussion in international public opinion. But perhaps only today, in the face of global effects of the COVID-19 pandemic and any latitude in every home in the world, as the evidence that we are all connected to our planet. I am proud to be able to hear the voice of District of Rome, of a community that over the last 20 years repeatedly felt the need to effectively demonstrate that they care of the territory, and the smallest transformation within the metropolis should have a different development model as a paradigm. More than 50 years ago, here in Rome, an extraordinarily important document, the 1968 Club of Rome report, warned the world of risk and outcomes of a development model based on fossil fuels. The area of the 8th municipality in Rome that I administered is perhaps the most precious green land in the city of Rome. But the real challenge that we have undertaken in recent years is not only to protect the environmental heritage that even in a large city can still be preserved, but to invest in transformation that change in appearance and structure of the city. In this imagine, I will thank the collaboration with strategic partners such as Urban 2030. We are transforming the neighborhoods of our district thanks to unprecedented combination of art and technologies aimed at reducing the polluting gases, thus making effective choices to improve the air quality of our city with a public message of attention and adhesion to another possible city model. If the challenge is a global one, that will be individual citizens and communities who will aim to take the floor to demand that every mayor and every administration do the utmost to facilitate a democratic process of participation in an epoch-making challenge. A challenge that takes place every hour we live and has a fixed time to frame. Transforming public space in the city into urban gardens, facilitating the building regeneration of cities to reduce energy consumption, increase the possibilities of alternative transport to private cars, reducing food waste with the city food policies, and a sustainable waste cycle system. Above all, working for City Council to share good practice and education for a conscious city. In recent years, I've been part of global movements for another possible board to Seattle, from Seattle to Naples, Genoa, Frankfurt. The global forums have used words that today we found new spokesmen and new allies in Pope Francis, in Fridays for Future, and in Extinction Rebellion. The enemies of the planet still exist, and they are the same one who, while denying the effects of climate change, at the same time deny democracy. Democracy and the environment are two questions our time is asking. More than national governments, cities are the locus of democratic and environmental challenge facing to the planet. Meeting today is an extraordinary opportunity that we were to measure against a shared program. We are ready to deal with it. Thank you, Virginia.
Thank you very much, Amedeo, for this, and also for bringing us in the streets of Rome today in Porto Fluviale, where there is this huge graffiti with anti-pollution, realized with anti-pollution products in collaboration with Urban 2030. Okay, so we have now on stage Lord Mayor Hazelshue, who is the mayor of the city of Dublin in Ireland, and I really welcome her for being with us. I'm apologizing because we are a bit delayed on our time frame, but the floor is yours.
Thanks, Virginia. It's actually, I have to run away in a second for a meeting, so this will be very quick, but I just want to say a massive thank you to the campaigners and coordinators of Stop Global Warming. For us in Ireland, this is a key issue. We will have the climate bill go into cabinet tomorrow from a national level. From a city level, we've been doing a plethora of different things that have been fighting climate change. There is a strategic policy committee that's set up within Dublin City Council. So for those who don't know, Dublin City Council is the largest local authority in Ireland. We are the biggest council and we are the biggest area in group wise. Dublin itself has 4 different councils. The city council in Dublin has the largest budget and also biggest remit in terms of what we do for the city. So in relation to the climate actions that we've taken place, well, the key item on our agenda is protection against sea level rising and flooding, because we are a port city. So, and this was exchange that myself and the Mayor of Marseille, Deputy Mayor of Marseille had last week, where we both were having a talk about our different perspectives on how to protect the city when it comes to the rising of sea levels due to climate change. So there's a myriad of different plans that we have in place, but one of the key things is prevention, is kind of early detection. So through the different system, the port authorities, we have early detection systems in place, but we also have a building of flood mitigation risk. But that's the mitigation part. What we're trying to do also in terms of the positive change part is to encourage that overall that there needs to be a change in behavior when it comes to climate action. There needs to be, so everyone understands environmental issues on a day-to-day level in terms of what they do in recycling, what they do in terms of their own usage of carbon emission. But what we're trying to do is a shift in a modal shift in change of mindset when it comes to climate action. So being able to direct people to very key issues, direct results of how it affects their lives in Dublin City has been key in changing the mindset to allow people to enact in climate action. Because again, flood risk, you live by the sea, so you know straight away that's a direct risk to you. You look at global warming in general, the rising of the sea level is one of the key things. So, but then you look at emissions and you go, well, what is your carbon emission? What is your carbon emission objective over the next 10 years, the next 5 years, and that's what we've been trying to implement through the Climate and Environment Strategic Policy Committee. So within that committee, what we have is a group of councillors and also the wider public participation network to look at how we shift mindset on climate issues. One of the key things we noticed with COVID is the shift when it comes to transport. So to get people out of cars, and what we've noticed with COVID and what we've done through COVID is that there's been a COVID mobility action plan to protect the citizens of the city during COVID to make sure they have more space. But what this COVID mobility action plan also meant is that you get people out of cars. So you provide more segregated bike lanes and walking, and you get people out of cars. That will lower the rate of emission overall as well. And that, again, has a knock-on effect. The other big ticket item we're trying to do is retrofitting. So retrofitting of social housing across the city. That is within our goal and aim, because again, that creates the knock-on effect of a direct contribution to climate change. There's a whole load of other things as well, but I am running out of time. So it's an ongoing project, but with tomorrow's climate bill that's coming in front of our cabinet, and it's going to be enshrined in legislation, we're very, I guess, it's still scary, because we all know here that it's a matter of time. So, and it's a matter of what we can do within this short time. So the legislation that would come in place in Ireland that enshrines climate actions and what our key objectives are into policy and into legislation, that will be key. But I think there's a huge amount of changing mindset that we need to do, and this is why conversations like these to the wider environment is really essential.
Thank you very much. Thanks to the Lord Mayor of the City of Dublin, Hazel Shue, which also reminds one of the key topics of the earthday.org campaign, which is about climate literacy and the importance of changing the mindset. So today is a combination of different actions. StopGlobalWarming.eu can be signed online on the website StopGlobalWarming.eu. It's an official European citizen initiative that addresses the European Commission. So the goal is to collect these 1 million of signatures to put this issue on the table. So next on stage, we have the mayor of the city of Saaremaa Vald in Estonia. And I apologize again for all the misspelling of your city's name, Mick Twisk. And Estonia is actually quite one of the most interesting EU countries also in terms of digital participation. So I leave the floor to Mick Twisk for his speech, and welcome.
Yes, hello and thank you. The Saaremaa is, let's say it's hard to explain and hard to pronounce. But hello, ladies and gentlemen, and greetings from the home of Eastern Vikings, Saaremaa. We are, as you know or not know, we are located in the Baltic Sea between Estonia, Latvia, and Sweden. And Saaremaa, literally translating the island land. We have same issues as the previous speaker, the Dublin was, due to that we are an island like they are. And Saaremaa is the largest island of the monsoon archipelago. As an island, we cannot overlook the issue of climate changes, as we are doing our best to include our effort in the global challenge. This was noticed also by our national authority, Environmental Investment Center, which proclaimed us the greenest municipality in Estonia last November. The recognition was backed with our effort to restore species-rich environment, to use energy-efficient solutions, to have environmentally sustainable public tenders, with our projects to heal and improve our water bodies and fish migration, our system of separate waste collection, and our support for constructing proper drinking water and sewage systems. We also renewed public lighting all over the Saaremaa, of course, with LED lights, and range-free collection of dangerous waste. Public transport in Estonia is free, And in the moment at the Saare County, our public transport uses biogas. Unfortunately, it isn't produced in Saaremaa yet, but we are looking ways to get this, let's say, this factory in Saaremaa that the local buses would drive on the local gas. But what was impressed the most when we received the award was the fact that while organizing these things mentioned, we spoke about them with our people. Therefore, it is very aligned with our current activities that we joined this European initiative to support stopping the global warming, and we will be happy to endorse it in all our available platforms. We have municipality newspaper, our weekly radio show in the local radio, our web homepage, our Facebook, our Instagram pages, and etc. And this global warming issue is very important to us. As mentioned, we live on the island and we are so much influenced by it. All the storms and all the floods, they influence more than in the mainland. And thank you for your attention, and let's stop global warming together.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot also for bringing us in the Baltic area and exploring Europe from that perspective. Now, next on stage is Monica Frassoni, who is was the former president of the European Greens, former European member of the European Parliament, and currently among the promoters of StopGlobalWarming.eu and many other things. So I leave the floor to Monica Frassoni.
So hello, good morning, everyone. I am particularly happy to see you all here. I am also a local councillor and the president of the Council of Ixelles, but I am not representing the council. I'm here now. In the sense that we are still in the way of discussing and adopting a motion in that direction. So I cannot really say to talk in representation of the local council of Ixelles. I hope it will come very soon. I just wanted to, first of all, congratulate Humans, Virginia, Marco, and the others for this amazing meeting today, and even more in perspective of what we will do together on the 22nd of April. I think that it is very important, and I would like to mention, to go back to what Manuela said in her intervention, and that is the need to link what we do also with what is going on at European level. As you see, the conversation about the border adjustment tax is not exactly the same thing as carbon pricing and what we are trying to do here, but it is, of course, linked to it. And the fact that the conversation was complicated by this idea that European companies should have a sort of double protection is something that it is very interesting to know for us too, and obliges us also to be even more determined in the arguments that go behind the carbon pricing initiative, which is to change the way in which even industries produce, and to foster a greener way of manufacturing. And I think that which is much less dependent on fossils, because using fossil is more expensive. In order to do that, we need to go on working from at all levels, but we need very much, and this is why the role and the work of the mayors is so important. We need to make this demand and this initiative come from the citizens themselves and from their representatives. And I believe that the collection of signatures through the work of local council and mayors is actually what we needed to give this campaign that, as Virginia explained, was very much hindered by the COVID pandemic, as most of our life, I must say, is very powerful, because it helps us to reach places where we probably would not been able to go. A very final comment. I think that it would be very interesting and powerful as well, that we can see as much as possible that this kind of organization, as some of the people in Rome or in other towns are doing, in order to use, or in Torino, to use the buildings or to use the infrastructure of the local council in order to foster people, to push people to sign. And this is also something that we can use when trying to collect the signatures at our different levels and different locations. And also we can use it to show the European institutions that this is an initiative that is going on, and that to which they will have to answer whether they like it or they don't. So I think that I would like to thank again for your presence and for your activities and for your activism. And Virginia, back to you. Thank you so much for what you do together with Marco and the others.
Thank you, Monica Frassoni. And now the floor is for the mayor of the city of Växjö in Sweden, Mr. Bo Frank. I'm very curious to listen to him, because Sweden was one of the first, or probably the first country in the European Union to adopt a carbon pricing policy back in the 90s. So I don't know if he's including in his speech a reference to that, but that's a trivia information that's always good to remember. So Mr. Bo Frank, Mayor of Växjö, welcome, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, dear friends. Thanks so much for having me. This is about leadership, commitment, and passion. When I was elected mayor in 1991, I gathered all political leaders in the city, and we decided and we agreed on a roadmap to sustainability. And for 30 years, all politicians and all political parties have more or less been united in all issues regarding energy, transportation, and city building. 1996, we took as the first city in the world declaration to be a fossil fuel-free city 2030. And what we have done is a lot since that decision. We have built the first 100% bioenergy power plant in our city. We are producing electricity, district heating and district cooling, and also fiber for high-speed internet in the same grid. We decided also very early to start our own production of local biogas. We involved the citizens because each citizen are more or less obliged to put the organic waste in a separate box. So we produce biogas for public transportation and for private cars. Everything we do together with the business life and the university and with the citizens and a lot of NGOs working for environmental issues of different kind. We adopted a plan for biodiversity. All our climate efforts is also now in our Agenda 2030 strategy. We in business life is also very important. This week we don't have the Earth Hour, we have the Earth Week. Every year we have an Earth Week where we work together with schools, teachers, leaders from the civil society. So we could say that all citizens are more or less involved in the Earth Week in one way or another. We have also done a lot for wooden constructions. We have a wooden construction policy. Almost all houses, buildings in our city are wooden constructions because steel and concrete emits 6-7 times more emissions than aviation. So we are afraid of steel and concrete buildings. We have a lot of wood here. We only cut about 80% of the annual growth. Growing forest taking up carbon dioxide. So forest industry is very important for us. So we are towards a society for bioenergy. I don't know if we have any slides. There should be 2 slides, so I could explain them very fast.
We do, I'll open it. Give me 1 second.
Yeah. So to start with, since we took this decision of being a fossil fuel-free city, we have cut the emissions with about 70% from a low level. 70% from a low level. Almost 70% of all consumed energy in the entire municipality is renewable energy. So I think we will really achieve our goal to be a fossil fuel-free city 2030. What is also very important that we influenced the Swedish parliament. Yeah, this is a story about CO2 tax. So we want more CO2 tax on national level and also on the European level. The CO2 tax is very important. We should have higher tax on fossil energy and low tax on renewable energy. What to be considered also is that why do we have these possibilities in Sweden? I should stop to mention that Sweden is perhaps the most decentralized country in Europe. Almost all political power are at the local level. The local governments have been in our constitution for 150 years. Only two levels to make it short in Sweden, the central level and the local level. The local level, the cities in Sweden are responsible for all issues except health, care, universities, police and defense. All other issues are at the local level. And the other slide, we can also show what we have achieved during the years here. So this is to make it short again about leadership, commitment and passion and unity. In our city council, we have 7 political parties. All political parties in our city council are green parties, more or less. That is why it is so easy to work together for sustainability. That was extremely short. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mayor Frank. It was very helpful, also very concrete to see the impact of such a policy and also how Sweden is organized between the national and the local level. So next on stage we have Mr. Oliver Schroth, City Climate Coordinator of the city of Linz in Austria. So the floor is yours.
Thank you much, Virginia, for introducing me and also for having me. I'm representing Linz today, not as a major, but as a city climate coordinator. And I want to share 3 interesting points with the other cities. So probably you know Linz is the 3rd biggest city in Austria. It is also the strongest economic city, and it has a very old traditional steel industry, which of course is very carbon intensive. So we have 10% of all our carbon emissions in Austria just come from the city of Linz. And of course, this is not a good situation. And therefore, since 2 years, we have a very own climate strategy. It is adopted, it is shared by all parties. And what are we planning with this climate strategy? So we want to have a roadmap for decarbonization, but at the other hand, we want to adapt to outcomes of climate change, for example, heat or extreme events. Maybe I want to share one thing with you, which could be interesting for other cities in Europe. So we have a climate fund, which has 1 million euros each year, and we're spending this money to innovative projects, for example, renewable energy projects or climate change education projects, or just green building solutions. And this is an instrument which works very well and which I can highly recommend to other cities. How do we involve citizens for climate change? I think this is crucial, and we have an electronic participation platform, and we really collect ideas of what citizens think the city could do to get greener and also to cut the emissions down. And this is also a platform, a channel we want to use for the citizens initiative to, just to raise attention that more people will sign it as soon as possible. I also think that the minimum price on carbon is so essential for climate change mitigation. And it's also essential not only on the European level, but also on the city level for Linz, because we want to build a green hydrogen cluster. So also that electricity is produced in the city and it can be stored and can be given to the steel industry there so that the emissions get down. And I think that in order to do this, we need cost transparency with the tax, and otherwise I think it's impossible to accelerate the decarbonization in Europe. I myself have signed the petition a few weeks ago, and I will do my best to share the information in the city. And thank you very much for your efforts and your initiative. It's just great. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Schwartz, also for highlighting the methodologies like the climate funds, so how owned resources of the city can be used for projects within the city, but also for mentioning digital platforms that can enable the citizens' participation in the decision-making process. Was very, very interesting, and we will definitely follow up on that in the next days. Next on stage is, in the meantime, I ask Marco Capato, who is the key promoter of Stop Global Warming, if he wants to add something, but in the meantime, I move to the next speaker, who is Gregory Macedoni. He is the mayor of Novo Mesto in Slovenia. So welcome.
Thank you for the invitation, dear coordinators, dear fellow mayors and other participants of this online event. It's my great pleasure to greet you from Novo Mesto. To begin with, I would like to introduce our city. Novo Mesto is the regional center of southeastern Slovenia, located halfway between two capital cities, Ljubljana and Zagreb. With a population of just over 37,000, Novo Mesto is considered the capital of the Slovenian export economy. In the recent years, we have been active in environmental protection, as we have placed emphasis on sustainable mobility, circular economy in the field of waste, and energy efficiency of public buildings. We strongly believe these are the areas in which we, as a municipality, can make a difference. Regarding sustainable mobility, we have focused on providing infrastructure. We are expanding the network of cycling and pedestrian connections, including the planning and implementation of new routes and the upgrade of the existing ones as part of the road renovation works. In the coming years, we have some ambitious plans to build regional cycling paths to neighboring municipalities, counting on European cohesion funds. Our city is, we can say, a river city, and two new footbridges crossing the Krka River will soon be available to pedestrians and cyclists, contributing importantly to the mobility of citizens and visitors to the city center, as well as connecting two large residential neighborhoods. We introduced the city bike rental system a few years ago, which we are now upgrading with new stations and electric bikes. We have also introduced electric car transport for the elderly, provided by volunteers, and as soon as epidemiological conditions allow, we will also launch a car sharing system. The main construction project of recent years is the renovation of the city center. In the first phase, we followed the sustainable trends of urban centers and renovated our main square, which is now traffic-free and serviced by electric car transfers. We also hope for significant changes in the field of railway connections, as we are the initiators of the regional initiative that seeks to revitalize the railway connection between Ljubljana and Zagreb. When speaking about sustainable mobility, I would like to refer to the words of the legend of world architecture and urbanism, Lord Norman Foster, who was the keynote speaker at the International Forum of Mayors at the Geneva Palace of Nations, which I attended in October last year. Lord Foster is convinced that the epidemic will give rise to even greater emphasis of and very concrete action in the field of sustainable mobility. And the cities will certainly be the carriers of this development. Regarding waste management, We strive for sustainable management of national resources and their efficient use, which means the transition to the circular economy. In general, Slovenia takes pride in having a high level of waste separation, and with an almost 60% rate of recycling of municipal waste, it ranks at the very top in Europe. Now Mesto is again one of the leading cities with pilot projects aiming at the reuse of packaging waste. At the same time, we ensure that our citizens have lower prices for waste management than the average Slovenian prices for these services are. In the field of energy, in our Mesto, we started a comprehensive energy renovation of public buildings in 2017 with a public-private partnership. In doing so, the private partner invests in the energy optimization measures and guarantees a minimum level of savings, while the municipality repays it through these savings. The most tangible results are the environmentally friendly energy renovated buildings of our schools and kindergartens, assuring better conditions for our children. So the benefits are multiple: lower costs, better conditions, and benefits for our environment. If we move from local to the global level, I am convinced that coordinated European action in the fight against global warming is the right path and that the role of cities is crucial. As part of the Stop Global Warming initiative, in line with the direction of other European institutions, we followed the so-called carbon pricing, which aims at reducing greenhouse gas emissions. I've been active in the Committee of the Regions for several years, and starting this year also in the Covenant of Mayors for Climate Change. So these topics will form an even greater part of my everyday agenda. In the municipality of Novo Mesto, we are happy to support the efforts within the Stop Global Warming initiative, and using our communication channels, we will invite our citizens to sign the initiative, and we will also invite our partner cities to join. Let me conclude with expressing the wish that we all successfully and quickly come out of epidemic and its consequences, allowing such valuable events to be carried out live. Thank you for your attention, and I wish you all a nice and fruitful day.
Thank you very much, Mayor Macedoni, also for the detailed report on your activities, but also the commitment to spread the information on the initiative. We see the two things going hand in hand, and we really appreciate your support. So thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much. And Virginia, just wanted to add a small technical thing that the campaign can be embedded on any website. So every city can directly collect signatures from its own website, and this can be an important tool to involve the citizenship on signing the initiative. Thank you.
Thank you, Marco. And also, of course, the other injection for creativity is to follow the example of the city of Turin, which on the 22nd of April for Earth Day will display the campaign logo as part of the Earth Day activities. So we hope to trigger a wave of projections across the EU cities, in your cities, to kind of join our voices again in 1 month from now for the campaign, for the environment, and also for the involvement of European citizens. Now we move to the Netherlands. We have 2 cities represented here today. One is the city of Eindhoven, and the other one is the city of Heerlen. I stop apologizing. And I think having an angle on Netherlands is quite interesting, because it's a country where the carbon pricing proposals started at a local and regional level, and now there is there is I mean, it's quite advanced, the debate on this type of policy. Again, I'm not sure if our speakers will focus on this element, but today is a good opportunity to try and connect other types of policies with carbon pricing as an instrument. So the next on stage is Mr. Rick Thijs, Alderman of Eindhoven. Welcome.
Yes. Good afternoon. I'm Rick Thijs. I'm from Eindhoven, the Netherlands. I am the deputy mayor and in this function responsible for climate and sustainability. But first, let me tell you something about Eindhoven, a city with a population of 230,000, which is part of the Brainport region of 750,000 inhabitants. We have come a long way since the economic downturn in the 90s, by which we were not defeated. Instead, we turned things around to become one of the most innovative regions in the world, thanks to the effective partnership between industry, education, and government, also known as the Triple Helix. Nowadays, the Brainport region has important institutions for a sustainable future, such as the Technical University with the New Energy Research Center, the Automotive Campus in Helmond with an impressive know-how on smart and sustainable mobility, and the High-Tech Campus with companies that are active in key technologies in the area of energy consumption and energy generation, such as photonica. In 2015, Eindhoven was the first city in the Netherlands that adopted the Paris Agreement and started its own climate monitor. And achieving these goals is only possible by following what I personally consider 3 vital guidelines. The first is don't wait, act now. With this in mind, we have developed a structured plan for the progressive energy transition in the different neighborhoods by 2030. To provide transparency to everyone, we published a consumer-oriented online version. And in line with this plan, we are also looking into alternatives for gas with high CO2 emissions, such as the use of waste heat from data centers or produce heat from our own local sewage treatment plant, which can provide heat for 8,000 households. The second part, bring parties and people together. In 2018, we signed a local climate pact with our 4 social housing companies to team up in reaching the goals for reduction of CO2 emission. With 40% of the housing in Eindhoven being owned by only 4 social housing corporations, we can coordinate communal renovation and the purchasing of materials such as insulation and solar panels in bulk, and therefore tackle energy poverty directly with the tenants. And this year we started a climate network where all kinds of initiatives are being brought together. And this network is aimed at exchanging know-how, inspiring each other, but also to be discerning, if not critical, towards our own government policy. And last week I signed the agreement with the New Block, an organization in a former factory that will become the circular hotspot and clubhouse for our local climate network. We are renovating the government-owned real estate to the highest energy efficiency standards with green solutions to improve the overall living quality and biodiversity. In our public space, we are greening the paved areas in preparation of the new challenges that we are faced due to climate change. The underlying overall vision of this approach is that becoming a climate neutral city should not be considered only a technical or a financial challenge, but above all, a social challenge. And where there is a will, there is a way. Eindhoven and Helmond, as cities of the Brainport region, teamed up to become leaders in Europe towards a transition that is there for its citizens. It is my firm belief that we as a Brainport region are up to the task of creating innovative and scalable solutions towards climate neutral cities all across Europe. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Thijs, Deputy Mayor of Eindhoven. I think you also highlighted an element which is the importance of the relationship between technology to fight climate change and without technological innovation. And I think the other interesting element is the social, the importance of social policies that goes hand in hand with climate policies. Maybe Marco wants to say something about how we framed the carbon pricing proposal in the ECI, which is not only putting a price on CO2 emissions, but there is a social balance for that. Maybe this is a good moment to say something, Marco, on this.
Yes, yeah, despite the fact that the European Union does not have a direct power on fiscal policy, but we have included in the StopGlobalWarming.eu proposal the possibility of using funds for lowering taxes on the low incomes. So to have like a social compensation for the rising of prices on some fossil fuel derived product. So this for us is a very important point, as I said at the beginning, to cope with at the same time the social crisis and the environmental crisis at the European level. Thank you.
Thank you, Marco Capato. Unfortunately, I don't see any more connected Charles Claessens, who is the Deputy Mayor of Erlin in the Netherlands, hoping he's going to connect us with us again later on. I will now give the floor to Mr. Pencho Mikov, who is the Mayor of the city of Ruse in Bulgaria. So we move again on the other side of Europe. Welcome, Mayor. And,
welcome to everyone from Ruse, Bulgaria. I'm glad to join this meeting. Dear colleagues, dear coordinators and supporters of the initiative Stop Global Warming EU. First, I would like to thank you for the invitation to join this event. And congratulations to the initiators for the mission undertaken. We highly appreciate the possibility to join initiatives where Ruse, our town, can stand next to other cities with shared goals and present the measures taken so far. Ruse is with strategic location on the Bulgarian-Romanian border, and it is the Danube capital for Bulgaria. The citizens of Ruse have always been active, and they would gladly accept the possibility to take part in this democracy instrument provided by the European Union, which allows our citizens to suggest legislative changes. I tell this like a lawyer and jurist. The municipality of Ruse has been participating in the international partnerships, adopting good practices from leaders. For example, Civitas Eccentric is a project funded by the European Union's Horizon 2020 program, and it focuses on sustainable mobility in suburban district and innovative urban freight logistics. Ruse participated with Madrid, Munich, Stockholm, and the town Turku. Local awareness raising actions have reached a large and diverse group of stakeholders, and the implemented measures led to the impact. The quality of the air was improved. That is partly due to combination of new mobility measures. The list with the measures taken so far cannot compare to the steps and the long way we still need to go ahead for reaching the results and the effect we are aiming to. An example of some future steps is a new functioning anaerobic installations on the territory of Ruse. We expect that it will reduce the amount of deposited biodegradable waste with 52% by 2023 and increase the quantities of recycled biodegradable waste. The effect that we target is reducing greenhouse gas emissions and limiting climate change. We support the initiative for the European carbon pricing. The roles of municipalities and regions are essential on the EU political stage. I believe in that, both in terms of decision-making and policy development and implementation, as well as in the strengthening and participatory democracy instruments, with mayors and with local authorities increasing their involvement in concerning at EU level. The EU political leadership, I believe that will recognize more the important role that municipalities can have in our democratic system. Municipality of Russia will support the initiative, and the information we will be forwarded to our citizens on the municipal website. We are welcoming other partnerships for transferring good practices and development of innovative measures to fight climate change and build strong and sustainable green economy. Thank you, and I wish you good luck.
Thank you very much also for highlighting the relationship between democracy and the involvement of the citizens, and also as a process of putting a democratic push toward the European institutions. So thank you very much. So when we launched this event, of course, the name could have been European Mayors to Fight Climate Change to Participatory Democracy, or EU Mayors to Fight Climate Change to Participatory Democracy. And I'm happy that we have chosen European Mayors, because we have with us the Mayor of the city of Derry in Northern Ireland, Mr. Brian Tierney. And as we all know, the Northern Ireland is technically not part anymore of the European Union due to the Brexit referendum, but I hope the mayor will give us some perspective also from outside the bureaucratic borders of the European Union, and in light of climate policies, and also what can be done to reach for the EU citizens that still live in Northern Ireland. So welcome, Mr. Brian Tierney.
Thank you very much, Virginia. Thank you for the invitation to come and address this gathering this morning. In relation to our position, either inside or outside of the European Union, that is against the wishes of the people who I represent. The majority of the people in our council area voted to remain within the EU, and that's a position that we defended rigorously throughout that campaign. Just to give you a bit of an insight on the Our City and District, my name is Brian Tierney, as Virginia has said, and I'm the Mayor of Derry City and Strabane District Council. Derry City and Strabane District Council was formed in 2014 after the reform of local government here in Northern Ireland, where the former Derry City Council and Strabane District Councils amalgamated. We have a population of approximately 150,000 people, and our city and district is located in the northwest part of the island of Ireland. We straddle the border with the Republic of Ireland and work very, very closely with our neighbours in Donegal County Council and matters that we see that are beneficial to people on either side of the border. And we recognise that climate change does not recognise borders, and that we have to work together in the best interests of all of our people. So here within our council area, we have been working very, very hard to try and combat climate change. Our council has led on the EU funding climate project with partners from Sweden, Finland, Iceland, the Faroe Islands and the Republic of Ireland to develop a local authority adaptation planning toolkit, which has been shared with others across Europe. The project also saw our council area be the first council to produce a local authority climate change adaptation plan in Northern Ireland. We've been working extremely hard on developing our greenway connectivity across our council area, working with the Interreg VA funded Northwest Greenway project, which will see 46.5 kilometres of cross-border greenway between Derry City and Strabane District Council and Donegal County Council, and enabling the shift from private cars to sustainable forms of transport right across the Northwest region. 2019, our council formally declared a climate emergency, and that led to the establishment of an all-party working group to address issues of climate change. And this also led to the climate pledge for us as a commitment to a shift in net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2045, which will also ensure that Derry City and Strabane District Council area is as far as practical possible prepared for and resilient to the effects of climate change. We've been working in terms of infrastructure and regeneration, and this includes climate change risk and opportunity assessments for the key projects within our city deal here within the Northwest region. Derry City and Strabane District Council, along with our partners in Donegal County Council, are currently developing the Northwest Regional Energy Strategy, funded through the Northwest Strategic Growth Partnership. The strategy sets out local measures to achieve net zero emissions by 2045 through decarbonisation, energy efficiency, and renewable energy integration. The Northwest Climate Action Plan is something that we've also been working extremely hard on, and we're at the development phase of that now. That's led by Derry City and Strabane District Council and Donegal County Council, and will deliver transformational change through a strategic framework for climate action on a cross-sectoral and regional base. The strategic framework also is one of the first of its kind in the UK and Ireland, and will deliver collaboration and shared approaches to the actions to mitigate against climate change. And to affirm our region's commitment to addressing climate challenges posed in the Northwest region, will deliver climate action on a cross-sectoral, multi-agency basis to achieve greater adaptation and resilience to the effects of climate change, whilst leading by example to reduce emissions and to mitigate against further global warming. And anyone who knows anything about government formation in the north of Ireland, we understand that we can do as much as we can here within local government, but for us to really see the benefits and to see the changes that are needed, we have to see a policy shift within central government, within the Northern Ireland Executive. We're working very, very hard with that. And I think it's also fitting today that we also pay tribute to the many young campaigners right across Europe who have come out and laid their voices very, very strongly in support of climate change. And we've seen those demonstrations take place right in cities and countries right across Europe over the last number of years. Unfortunately, obviously this year, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, they couldn't take place, and they're all now put on an online platform. But I think it's very important that we not only recognise the work that is being done by young people, but we also acknowledge the hard efforts that they're putting in to educating those of us who aren't ready or haven't got the policy mind to make those changes. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tierney. I think in your speech what resonate also with the community that is around StopGlobalWarming.eu and the use of institutional participatory democracy instrument is that these are instruments that by their nature cross the borders of countries, but also of political parties and those divisions that sometimes keep the debate and the political process hold up from the running for elections element. And we are very happy that StopGlobalWarming.eu has a broad network of supporters from within the member of the European Parliament, from different parties, MPs at national level that maybe they fight on other matters, but they agreed on the proposal. And we believe this Stop Global Warming campaign is also an instrument probably in the hands of local administrators to show that there is a push for certain policies, that it's beyond borders and beyond party lines, and it's a complementary instrument to your activities. So that's why we think occasions like today is an opportunity to reimagine how European democracy at transnational but also local level can help the acceleration on certain policies, where carbon pricing is one, but transport is another, and the fact that also municipalities themselves need to work beyond their own borders, like you mentioned the case of the counties that are around yours. So I think this is very important in the light of what we're trying to do today and hopefully in the next weeks together. Okay, next on stage we have Mr. Michael Leishner. He's the head of climate protection, air pollution and noise abatement of the city of Dortmund in Germany. And thanks, you were probably the first one to confirm your presence for today. So thanks for being with us, Mr. Leishner.
Thank you very much, Virginia. It's my pleasure to be here and that Dortmund can participate in this event for Stop Global Warming. My name is Michael Leishner. First of all, I would like to convey the greetings of our Lord Mayor, Thomas Westphal, who unfortunately cannot speak here himself today, but has promised his support. Yes, the painful effects of climate change are also being felt in the city of Dortmund. It's a town with about 600,000 inhabitants in the coal mine belt of Germany, in the state of North Rhine-Westphalia. Yes, climate change has arrived here, and also there is a clear commitment by the administration, the municipality politicians, to an active climate protection. It quickly becomes clear that we cannot do this alone with our municipality institutions in the city of Dortmund. And therefore, our motto in Dortmund is turn those affected into those involved. Affected become involved. When we created our umbrella brand in Dortmund, it's called Climate is a Home Game, related to our soccer team. But when we created it, we already made sure that all stakeholders were involved in the creation at an early stage and were able to select it via online voting. But this motto also applies to us in other projects that are perhaps a little more complex. Our most recent project, the current action program Climate Air 2030, also thrives on the participation of citizens. Interviews with a wide range of civil society actors were conducted at the beginning of the process to find out where the shoe pinches. The opinions of experts throughout the city were gathered in topic-specific workshops for this action program. Just last Saturday, we held a citizens conference online to discuss with citizens and listen to their opinions on the planned measures in this action program. You will still find it on YouTube under the Dortmund website. Now, some people might get the idea that a carbon tax is a paternalism, but we see this quite differently. Not so long ago, saving energy and thus carbon dioxide also made itself visible in the wallet. If you decided to buy a fuel-efficient car, insulated your house, or modernized your heating system, you could always save money in the long run. And the pioneers of these set measures gladly and proudly reported about it. I'm saving money and doing something good for the environment. In the meantime, however, the energy transition has reached a point of stagnation. The urgently needed turnaround in heating, for example, is being prevented by fossil fuels on the free markets. In the mobility sector, too, there have been no significant greenhouse gas savings so far. For example, a journey from Düsseldorf to Berlin by train is up to 4 times more expensive in Germany than by plane. So, a sufficiently high carbon tax can steer the energy market in the right direction. Not only will climate damaging products become unattractive through higher prices, but the development of renewable energies will also be strengthened with a shift of money flows. And because everyone is affected by climate change, we must empower every citizen to participate in the global process of climate protection. And not just in a political election, a tick on a petition, in community participation processes like our action program, but every day with every purchase decision. In this way, the carbon tax turns those affected into participants. Okay, we will also publish the campaign on our website and social media challenge. I would be delighted if this campaign, I'm sure this campaign becomes a great success and we can use it to make a crucial impact on climate change. Our motto, action now for a future worth living. Please, everybody, support Stop Global Warming. Many thanks. Best regards from Dortmund and keep healthy.
Thank you very much.
Dankeschön. And I also want to express my gratefulness to all the participants, because we are basically, everyone is not speaking his native language, and we decided that English is the language for the event. So thanks everyone for the extra effort in align our language of communication. It's fascinating to see the different nuances and way of speaking, but thanks a lot. So now we move to Belgium, and we have already 4 cities from Belgium. Is the record, after Italy, is the record country of supporters for Stop Global Warming, probably also thanks to the help of our networking officer, Sophie Vogait, who is from Belgium as well. So we have a focus on Belgium now with, first of all, the mayor of the city of Linz, Jan Vermeulen. So the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you very much, Virginia, and thank you to all the colleagues to join some great ideas to become better cities together. What you can learn from our city is that small wheels create great cities, that you should combine more train and bicycle, and that you should become a 4 seasons city. Our goal is to reduce the carbon emission by 40% in 2030. And therefore we adapted the 17 sustainable development goals in our strategic government plan for the city. Deinze is situated between Ghent and Bruges. So it's a great place to cycle. In just 5 years' time, we became Belgium's best cycle city. In 2015, 2018 and 2020, Deinze was awarded the title of Cycle City. One of the main reasons was that the city dared to make important decisions and choose to put the bicycle on the first place, sometimes even against the current. The city of Deinze bought expensive land along the river Lys and houses to create a cycle highway between Deinze and Ghent. And that was not an easy task, but as a mayor, you really have to engage for such project. For every meter of cycle path, you have to start a street fight. We started also a bike sharing system in the year 2012. The city of Deinze's partner is Blue Bike. It's Belgium's national bicycle sharing system. It's initiated by the National Railways, and it's inspired by the public transport bike in the Netherlands. It's a back-to-one sharing system and not yet a back-to-many system like you know Philippe in Paris or Vilo in Brussels. But as a city, we are inspired proprietor Blue Mobility to design a third-party financing system made to measure for Deinze. And as a result, everybody can use a free Blue Bike in our city, and every citizen can also use the Blue Bike system for free in all other cities where Blue Bike is available, such as Leuven and Bruges. That's the major advantage for the sharing system. We also combine bike rides and trains because we have the exceptional advantage of having a train station right in the middle of the city. We are located also only 1 hour from Brussels. So the bike sharing system gains even more importance. Combining the bicycle with railways for the first and last mile transport, that's nothing new. It's as old as the invention of the bicycle itself. A lot of European cities are now returning to this important model combination in order to battle congestion and emissions. In addition, the bikes are being maintained by a project from non-profit association Intro that focuses on social employment. Our city was also the first city that created a mobile hub. It's a mobility point where we share different sustainable transport modes and they are linked with each other. A mobile hub can have multiple functions but some are very essential. To install a mobile hub, for example, it's necessary to have at least some car sharing parking spots and a bicycle storage. Furthermore, the hub should be near a public transport stop and easily accessible for everyone. So it's important to take into account mobility issues such as wheelchair friendliness and the safety aspects, for instance, making sure it's neat and well lit. It's designed to enable and promote multimodal transport on a local level and can be tailored for the different neighborhoods. Even the Flemish administration took over that initiative. But above all, we share the public space. The bike sharing system fits perfectly in the renewal of the city center of Deinze, who has 45,000 inhabitants, and that focuses on a higher quality for the public space. If there's only one thing that should be shared more in the near future, it should be our public space. The renewal of the city started under the project Deinze 2020 and made some great developments. So if you share public space, you're putting people first. If you really care about public space, you have no other option than give bicycles a special place. One parked car takes up the same amount as 12 parked bicycles. Different studies prove that cyclists tend to shop more local, are healthier, and are less absent in their workplace. The bike sharing system, it still remains the fastest way to move yourself through a city. So that are the most important things you can learn of our city. Small wheels are good for everyone. They create great cities. We combine train and bicycle. We want to become a four-season city, and we adopted the 17 Sustainable Development Goals in our strategic government plan. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thanks for, as a cyclist and being in Belgium, I should come and visit quite soon then. Thank you very much. And now we stay in Belgium and we have Mr. David Dessers, who is the Councillor for Climate and Sustainability in the city of Leuven, which last year was the European Capital of Innovation. So I guess we will hear again between the relationship between climate and innovation, I guess. So the floor is yours, Mr. Dessers.
Okay, thank you very much. Hello, everybody. I'm very happy and honored to participate in this event and to represent the city of Leuven in Belgium. Leuven is a city with more than 100,000 inhabitants and about 60,000 students. And indeed, last year we were the European Capital of Innovation. And I sent you all the greetings also of our mayor, Mr. Mohamed Ridouani. We as a city, we aim to be a climate neutral city by 2050, involving all citizens of our city. And therefore we founded the organization Leuven 2030, a multi-stakeholder citywide initiative dedicated to accelerate the transition to a carbon neutral, resilient Leuven. And Leuven 2030 represents a network of more than 600 members, ranging from the local government to knowledge institutions, the important university we have here, local companies, citizens, and their organizations. It represents all actors in our society. The collaboration between the various Leuven players and residents is not only unique, but also necessary, because creating a healthy and climate neutral city can only succeed if everyone participates in this. And so Leuven 2030 stimulates residents, companies, schools, organizations, and also the municipality to take action and to strive together for a climate neutral city. On the level of renewable energy, we stand for a cooperative renewable energy transition. So we also actively involve Leuven citizens in the energy transition, thanks to direct citizens' participation. So large roofs of, for example, schools, university buildings, companies, but also buildings of the city are being investigated in order to install solar panels together with the citizens and other partners, so financed by the citizens. Energy cooperatives do play an important role in our renewable energy transition, and it's our ambition that more than 40% of the inhabitants will be member of a Leuven energy cooperative by 2030. And in bigger projects for renewable energy, we aim for at least 50% direct participation. Recently, for example, we installed solar panels on 10 big roofs of city buildings, and there we had a 100% direct participation of our inhabitants. It's what we also call realizing a kind of energy democracy. So we endorse the proposal of a European carbon pricing as proposed by StopGlobalWarming.eu, as we believe that it will accelerate the sustainable energy transition. And so we will encourage the people of Leuven to sign the initiative through our different channels, and also our organization Leuven 2030, with a broad participation of our population, as I already mentioned, can make an appeal to sign this European citizen initiatives. And that is also the way I want to end up. I want to thank you not only for your attention, but especially for this inspiring and very powerful initiative. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thanks to all of you also to coming up with concrete actions that can be done with your groups, projects, organization. It's really helpful to also for us as citizens to understand how different municipality functions, which instruments they activate. So thanks for sharing this. I see Marco turned on his microphone, so Marco.
Sorry.
No, I thought you wanted to say something.
No.
Okay. It was a mistake. Okay, cool. Okay, so we were supposed to have with us also Minou Eskené, Councillor for Nature and Climate of the city of Bruges, but I cannot see her among the speakers, so maybe she will join us later.
And I will join the meeting on behalf of Miss Minou Eskené. I'm Koen Timmerman from the city of Bruges, and our alderman has unfortunately a problem with her agenda, and she could not attend the meeting in time. So she asked me to raise the voice for her in her name and take her speech over, if that is okay for you.
It is, of course.
Okay then. So I'm not speaking on my personal name, but in the name of Miss Eskené, the alderman responsible for climate and energy, and she's also very delighted, and I'm delighted in her place, to represent the city of Bruges here today in this good meeting. The city of Bruges is currently working closely together with its citizens and the organizations and businesses to develop an ambitious climate plan 2030, as many other cities are working on it as well. Our goal is to make Bruges carbon neutral by 2050, like every other European city, but we also have to carefully consider the urban fabric of our beautiful historical city. Here in Bruges, we have a special relation with our historical heritage, and we have to take that in mind with our transition. That is why the sustainable interventions require innovative solutions, such as district heating, which is for our city probably the only solution to heat our historical center, but also the possibility of solar roof tiles and new techniques in that kind, circular construction methods, smart city mobility applications, and so on. For every initiative we take, we seek the support of the inhabitants of Bruges. And an inspiring example is Buurtkracht, which translates as neighborhood strength of neighborhood power. And this project mainly focuses on showing neighborhoods and the residents that the need for an energy efficient renovation. At the same time, we offer them a maximum assistance in their search for the best possible renovations. This is, of course, greatly increases the energy efficient renovation rate, and we are working at a few pilots in our town to work with this method of Buurtkracht, of neighborhood strength. Collaboration is a prerequisite for a successful energy transition. This collaboration has to be achieved in every direction, between authorities and residents, between knowledge centers and organizations, and between the various levels of government. In my opinion, the towns hold the crucial key to the realization of the European climate and energy ambitions. We can create a multiplier effect by supporting other cities in reaching these ambitious goals. So the Elderman is very happy to join this meeting, and she asks to join forces by combining our talents and putting them to the best possible use. Because taking care of tomorrow starts today, and that's also a bit the bottom line of our local campaign. Taking care of tomorrow starts today. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cohen. Sorry, Timmerman. Timmerman. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Also to the councillor to having found you to be with us today in the city of Bruges. So we are heading toward the conclusion, and we are not late as I thought we would have been at this stage. Now we fly in the middle of Mediterranean because we have Mr. Mario Fava, who is the president of the Local Council Association of Malta. And so his perspective is gonna probably describe the territory of Malta above the borders of the different councils and municipalities. So thanks, Mr. Fava, for being with us and for bringing the Mediterranean perspective to the table today.
Thank you, Virginia, and thank you, colleagues. It is a pleasure to be here with you this afternoon, and I thank you for this opportunity. Usually, we hear a lot of talking about sustainable energy, but very few of us are prepared to go the extra mile to do our part in this regard. Climate change has a devastating impact for the poorest people in the world. Extreme patterns of weather caused by rising global temperatures are destroying livelihoods and displacing millions of communities from their homes. Obviously, as we all know, climate change affects, amongst others, the international refugee and displacement crisis, drought, food, hunger and sustainable livelihoods, poverty, flooding, agroecology, sustainable fishing, and definitely the quality of life of our citizens and residents. Unpredictable seasons, rising sea levels, and erratic rainfall, which contribute to floods, droughts, and crop failures, mean that millions of people who are already struggling to survive are finding it even more difficult to grow food, get clean water, and access shelter. The poorer people are the harder it is to recover from failed harvests, destroyed homes, water scarcity, and deepening health crisis. Tackling climate change requires deep cuts in greenhouse gas emissions, including CO2 emissions. Carbon pricing is an effective and low-cost means of inducing carbon abatement. While not in itself sufficient to deliver the degree of abatement required for limiting the risk of climate change, obviously, and without any doubt, carbon pricing is an essential part of this solution. Our personal vehicles are a major cause of global warming. Collectively, especially in Malta, cars and trucks account to nearly 1/5 of our emissions. Transport represents almost a quarter of Europe's greenhouse gas emissions and is the main cause of air pollution in many cities. The transport sector has not seen the same gradual decline in emissions as other sectors. In fact, the European Commission identifies 3 priority areas for action, and these are increasing the efficiency of transport system, speeding up deployment of low-emission alternative energy for transport, and moving towards a zero-emission vehicles. In this regard, in Malta, we are adopting a concept of public space and mobility in this new reality in order to bring back daily lives in our localities. We are doing so with an action plan that will enable us to move around more easily and more safely with sustainable, healthy means of transport that benefit everyone. And we are calling this project Slow Streets. The Local Council Association, together with the regional and local authorities in Malta, are working on an action plan to make sure this mobility is safe, sustainable, healthy, and efficient. The aim is to promote walking, cycling, and public transport in parallel with other educational campaigns to avoid unnecessary travel and reduce the use of private cars within our localities. To achieve this, a series of temporary interventions are required to ensure that our localities are as safe as possible now and in the coming weeks, in order to minimize new cases of COVID and to protect people's health through non-polluting means of transport. 56 local councils out of 68 are participating in this project. Within this context, travel on foot and by bicycle for short and medium distances will continue to be the main recommended ways of getting around, especially as a last mile transportation. They are individual and sustainable modes of transport and allow for physical distancing from other people required as a preventive measure to continue tackling the spread of the virus at the same time. Travel by public transport is also recommended. Slow streets is intended to provide additional free and more open public spaces and priority to pedestrians and bicycles for essential travels. As I said before, the idea is to decrease the circulation of cars within our localities. We believe that now is the time to act, now is the time to embark on real effective change and also in this regard, the association back in October 2019 launched its vision, which is based on 4 particular pillars, which are sustainable mobility, green environment, open spaces, and smart cities. It's a 5-year plan, and hopefully all local councils will be involved and engaged in this vision. It's a shared vision for all local councils. And to conclude, obviously, our children, those with mental and physical health problems, the businesses, and even society and governments will gain from such initiatives. Definitely, as a local and the national association, we'll be doing our best to drive our regional and local authorities to support your initiative. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mario Fava from the Local Councils Associations of Malta, And now we have our last program speaker, who is Justina Svegzda, advisor to the mayor of Šiauliai, Lithuania. And I also, sorry, I made a mess probably with your name, surname. So please reintroduce yourself in the most appropriate manner, please.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction, and thank you for this really well-needed and highly needed event that actually united a lot of and many different countries of the European continent, and that's unfortunate that the Baltics are kind of underrepresented. So I am proud to be representing the region, because I saw some of the colleagues from Estonia. I saw in the program that there was supposed to be a representative from Riga, from the capital of Latvia, but I think that I will take the chance to introduce you, my other colleagues from the Western region, Southern regions of Europe, and Central regions of Europe on the ways that we are trying to combat the climate change across Lithuania, and specifically in the northern region of Lithuania, the city of Šiauliai. And as you probably can see in my background, for the previous week, we actually raised the flag of our planet Earth instead of the Lithuanian flag. I don't know if you can see it over here, but it was just a symbolic gesture to to raise the awareness, public awareness, in regards to the global warming, and that this is and this was symbolic because the flag was raised in the Resurrection Square, that is also a place where we celebrate national holidays. So basically, we had quite a few fights to go through during our history of development. So this is one of the fights that we will likely and probably undoubtedly will face in the upcoming future, and this is the fight for our climate, for the well-being of our planet. So this will likely be the most important fight there has been. So just some of the brief comments that I would like to place for this conference is that the city of Šiauliai is also one of the industrial hubs of Lithuania, just as Linz is in Austria, and we actually had quite a few challenges of transition towards more sustainable means of production, towards more sustainable ways of living. But however, during the last decade, since 2012, we managed to reduce the CO2 emissions in the process of heat generation by almost 7 times, by almost 700%, from 100,000 tons in 2012 to 15,000 tons just at the end of the last year, of the year 2020. And also we are relatively ambitious in another regard, that we just signed the project according to which all of the city lights in the city will be replaced by LED lights, since the legacy of the past era also included some of the some of the more not sustainable means of city lighting, and a lot of them to this day contain natrium and mercury and other materials that are highly harmful to the environment. So this is one of the things that we are planning to do in the city of Cholet, and we are aiming at the end of the year of 2023 to reach the 100% level of city lights being LEDs, and this will likely reduce the impact of the impact to the environment by more than 80%. So yeah, so this is these are some of the steps that we have been taking, and of course, in regards to this initiative, to the Stop Global Warming initiative, we as the only representative of our country today, we feel kind of a duty, or we want to share this the news about this project to the cities across Lithuania, and of course we will send the information that we have received, and also we will advocate for the collection of signatures, the Association of Municipalities of Lithuania, and try to do our best, because I do know for the fact that there are a lot of cities in Lithuania that aim at reaching the level of greenness, so to say, and they would be glad to participate in this initiative. Maybe they haven't received the sufficient information, but we will make sure that they do. And yeah, so these are some of the news from the Baltic region. And you know, it feels kind of strange, because for me it feels like Eurovision Song Contest to see all of you guys over here. And bearing on this metaphor, I think I should say that 12 points must go to the fight against the climate change, right? Thank you.
Thank you very much also for ending with the musical note, which is always encouraging and a boost. And thanks for the commitment to informing other cities in Lithuania. One of the biggest challenge of European citizen initiatives is that European citizens don't really know that they have this right to sign these official proposals to the commissions. And so one of the reasons why we organize this event is because you are closer to the European citizens than anyone else, but also this network of cities, this collaboration can really create a snowball effect that can really quickly potentially increase the number of signatures in the different EU countries, but also as an opportunity to have a debate at local level of European policies. So the benefit of what we are doing today is both for the environment, but also for the debate in the different EU member states and between different EU member states in a pan-European wave for the environment. We have officially finished the time almost, but also the speakers. But I want to thank also the other cities that attended with some observers and participants in the Zoom meeting: the city of Kranj in Slovenia, Ludwigsburg in Germany, Szczecin in Poland, Plovdiv in Bulgaria, Poznan in Poland, and Zabrze in Poland. And Polish has a lot, and Mechelen in Belgium. So thanks everyone. I would like to leave the floor for Marco Capato for some conclusions.
Thank you, Virginia. Thank you very much to everybody. I just want to remind two dates, two very important dates. Earth Day, April 22. It will be a global day of mobilization against climate change. And it's a perfect day to stress the chance that every and each citizen has and carries in formulating proposal at the European level too, in order to face climate change. The other date is, in a way, is a representation of this meeting of today. It's May 9 will be Europe's Day, and we are used to the celebration of our past. I think that civic participation is an occasion to celebrate also about our future, our common future, and how citizens can help in shape our future. I mean, your interventions explained much better than I can do now. It was a 2-hour class of local policies that can be realized, and a sharing of very, very important experiences at the local level. And Europe Day on the May 9 can become the occasion of informing citizens about their right to civic participation, to have a say in European decisions. So together with the humans and together with Virginia Fiume and Sophie Bogarts and Monica Frassoni and all the people who are working on this project, we will provide you with the information and documents and file and all possible materials to duly celebrate these 2 important dates. And we hope that you can use those tools to inform your citizens. As many of you said in your interventions, your role can be crucial in both informing citizens and informing and involving other cities. The goal of 1 million signatures by July 22 is a very ambitious goal. I think it's achievable if from this meeting we are starting a snowball effect, every and each of us involving other cities, other local communities. In that case, we can do it. We can reach the goal of 1 million signatures. Which what does it mean? It means that the European Commission would be obliged to reply to this proposal. I am sure that in reality, the European Commission is already in favor of reinforcing carbon border adjustment and carbon pricing mechanism, but there are a lot of resistances, as you can imagine, from some government and some private interests. So if we can feel the push from citizens from the bottom, I think that in the coming weeks we can influence European legislation on these issues. The European Commission during the month of June will present new regulation on carbon pricing and carbon border adjustment. So we are acting at the very right moment, and with the cooperation of local authorities and municipalities around Europe, I think we can have a huge impact. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marco Capato, for his closing remarks. I just want to conclude inviting everyone also that is watching this live streaming to share it with other people, and there's been a lot of sharing whilst we were speaking, also because, as Justina was mentioning, it's a very particular type of event, and it's rich of content, experiences, and it can be used on social media, on blogs, on magazines. Like, it's a way to have a dense content that that can feed the European debate on climate actions, but also participatory democracy instruments. I want to thank Vox Europe, which has been a media partner for the initiative and will produce articles in multiple EU languages after the event. So we will make sure you receive the article. And I invite everyone to sign on StopGlobalWarming.eu, the European Citizen Initiative. Every EU citizen can sign the European Citizen Initiative, and can also share it with other people, other networks, our other organizations. It's something that will cross the borders and be known as much as we as individuals or with our own responsibilities as coordinators, representatives of the citizens, or whatever role we take, we make this circulate in the European Union. Thanks everyone for joining, and you will hear from us because on 22nd of April, we should bring the green wave of StopGlobalWarming.eu in as many European cities as possible. Thanks everyone, and thanks Michael and Sophie and the rest of the Stop Global Warming team of activists and volunteers for making this happen today. Thanks a lot. Have a nice day.
Grazie. Thank you.
Bye-bye.